So hello everyone, I welcome you all to the Concept YouTube channel. So today's topics are again a very important topics. The topics are reframing India's foreign policy. This topic is related with international relation. Second topic is Cuban currency reform. This is also related with international relation. This is it can be used under GS paper 2 polity section as an example. This is again a very important topic, that is arrow paradox. So we will try to understand what basically is arrow paradox. Question can be framed under GS paper 2 also and GS paper 3. Next is about the gender equality part. Gender equality, we will try to understand what basically is gender equality, and we will try to understand the recent dimension introduced. In the end, I will give you the mains question. So this session is presented by me. My name is Saurabh Pandey. You can join me on Unacademy. This optional is again, it had started 3 days before. So if you want to join it, you can join it. You can watch the recorded sessions. There are many batch courses started yesterday on prelims for 2022-2023. NCRT batches are also there. In addition, there are individual courses for prelims and mains. There are many courses on current affairs. You can also join my current affair course. So what you have to do, you have to visit unacademy.com. You have to select UPSC CSE. You have to take the subscription GS Plus optional if you are preparing for 2022-2023. There is an option called iconic in which mentor is assigned to you, so you can opt for it as also. GS and optional, all these optionals are there, all these combo pack is there. So what you have to you have to take 1 year or 2 years subscription, and if you are using this code SP Live, the amount will reduce by 10%, and you will be able to watch all the batch courses including my courses. You have to send your answer to this Telegram channel, that is Daily Dose with S.Pandey. You can download the PDF of this session from Telegram channel SP Current Affairs. SP Current Affairs. You can follow me on Unacademy, unacademy.com/SP Live. So let's discuss the first topic. The first topic is reframing India's foreign policy priority. Again, a very important topic, and this can be asked under GS paper 2 under international relation. So I request each of you that note down it under a separate category of international relation. Like I told you, while you are noting down different topics, note it down as a part of different subject, not note it down just as an information or date wise, because many of IR question, like this year also, the IR questions were directly from the current issues. We have on many occasions discussed about Quad, and we have discussed about Indo-US defense deal, for example, LEMOA type agreement we have discussed. There were many articles on this subject. So take these topics as an extension of different subjects. So if you are changing your approach related with current affairs, you will be able to score high marks in GS paper 3, 2 and GS paper 1 also. So in this topic, first point that we have to understand is what basically is a foreign policy. So when you are using this word called as foreign policy, it means certain principles that are followed by one country. It is followed by one country to develop a relationship with the other countries or group of countries. So depending upon the changes, the situations and scenario, the foreign policy priorities changes. For example, depending upon the situation, we may start focusing towards Southeast Asia or Asia, Southeast Asia or East Asia part. So if we are focusing on Southeast Asia or East Asia, we'll focus on look or act East policy. So foreign policy priority is such, it all depends it all depends on how we want to derive our interest. So in this article, many situations and circumstances have been highlighted which actually which can in future compel India to shape its foreign policy in a new manner. It can be possible. So the point that is highlighted, that there is change in dynamics in the relationship between Europe and USA. Europe is trying to align itself. Europe is trying to develop a good relationship with China. The negotiation has started for European Union China Comprehensive Agreement on investment. China is the only country where you can notice the positive rate of growth at the end of 2020, and it will further increase in 2021. In Indo-Pacific region, from military perspective, China is again strengthening itself. The particular writer who has written this article, most of the articles are China oriented, and the person mainly try to emphasize this point that China is becoming more powerful, but we are getting some different dimensions, and that we can discuss. China has also tried to strengthen its military coordination with Russia. Even if you talk about Russia has tried to develop good relation with countries surrounding it, means the peripheral countries. It is also trying to strengthen its ties with China and with Turkey. So in international level, you have a new kind of dynamics in international relation. For example, Russia is trying to develop good relation with China. Russia is trying to develop good relation with Turkey. If Russia is going towards China, India has to go towards USA. If India goes towards USA, it can again influence the decision of Russia. Russia will start focusing more on China again. So all these change in dynamics are observed. In West Asia also, recently Abraham Accord has been signed between Israel and countries like Saudi Arabia and countries which are affiliated to Saudi Arabia. So there are two factions in West Asia. One is the Saudi bloc, other is the Iran and Turkey. So again, India has to choose between the two, because already the message has been sent among the international community that India is more of inclined towards USA, which may impact the thought process of Russia towards India and also countries like Iran. Turkey, which is part of NATO, which is run by USA, and this NATO has formed in 1949. It was formed in 1949. This NATO, if you talk about the NATO itself, this NATO, Turkey is also part of this NATO. Still, Turkey has changed its policy. It has shown its inclination towards Russia because it wants advanced missile system from Russia, so that Turkey can protect its interest in West Asia region. Also, if you talk about Iran is trying to develop its nuclear capability, and it is assured that West will support, mainly because of the change in regime, mainly in case of USA. Confrontation is going on between India and Chinese armed forces. It is visible in a line of actual control. India's presence in West Asia is reducing. Also, India's relation with Iran is not that good. In Afghanistan also, it is highlighted that India's participation in peace process is considerably less. So India need to improve its presence in different part of the world. Even among the neighboring countries, India's relation with Nepal has deteriorated. India has sent many of the diplomats. India has sent many of the diplomats in order to maintain good relation with Bangladesh, Myanmar, and Sri Lanka. So we can say India need to maintain good relation with its neighboring countries, not only with the neighboring countries, but also India need to ensure its interest, or to maintain and sustain its relationship in countries in West Asia, and we can say across the world. There is again a perception that because India's approach is such, for example, India has signed agreements like Lemoya, although India has signed the similar agreement with Russia also. This year the question was also framed. As per this agreement, logistic exchange memorandum of agreement, India and Russia can use each other's naval base for non-military purpose. Need to emphasize this word called as non-military purpose. Similar agreement has been signed by, we can say, similar agreement has been signed by India with Russia, but after certain pressure, maybe because Lemoya was signed around, I think, 2016, and with Russia we have signed the similar agreement recently. So it has sent a message that India has started to incline itself towards USA, and this has forced Russia to look towards China. So all these power dynamics, change in power dynamics or equation is actually compelling India to change its foreign policy dynamics. We can also state that the balance of power is altering in Asia. There are two major powers, India and China consider India as its competitor. So China will always try to establish its interest and will always try to counter India in that region. So all these development need to be taken into consideration. There are many organizations of which India has been the founding members. For example, in case of non-aligned movement or SAARC, India has reduced its presence in these organizations. India has reduced its emphasis on these organizations. For example, in case of SAARC, India is trying to develop an alternative, for example, Bay of Bengal initiative for multi-sectoral technical and economic cooperation. In the comment section, please let me know how many countries are there in this grouping. So all these points you need to understand. Take the case of regional comprehensive economic partnership. Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership is a free trade agreement, and it was supposed to be signed between ASEAN and plus 6 countries. India withdrew from this agreement in order to protect its interest. With the withdrawal of India, China's presence or influence in ASEAN region or in Southeast Asian countries, among the Southeast Asian countries, has increased because the only country which can counter China in that area is India. And if India is not a part of this agreement, this will provide sufficient space to China to increase its dominance in this particular region. So all these points you need to understand, and somehow because of that such development, India again need to do certain India need to take certain steps. Maybe it need to reframe its foreign policy priorities. So all these things you need to understand. Next topic is Dialogues for Democracy, Lessons from Rajasthan. This whole article, if you talk about this whole article, there are two major points or example that you can take, which is mentioned here, and you can quote these examples in GS paper 2. For example, you must have read about Central Vista project, and we have been discussing about Central Vista project. Honorable Supreme Court has approved this agreement. This project has been approved by Honorable Supreme Court, and Honorable Supreme Court has stated that it is the sole prerogative of the union government to decide where it wants to spend the money. There are many litigations relating to it. Because of such decision by the honorable court, there has been discussion. There has been discussion on certain points, mainly about the civic or citizens' participations or public consultation aspect. We have been discussing on this part since last 3-4 days. You can watch the earlier sessions, but here also a very good example has been given. If you talk about any democracy, the democracy will always aim towards what we call it as a substantive form of democracy, where we are not considering citizens just as a beneficiary. Rather, we want citizens to participate in the process of governance. So there are many policy making initiatives taken by the government, and while taking decisions related with the policies, or while formulating different policies, or while implementing different policies, it is the responsibility of the government to include citizen in the consultation process, or we can say for dialogue and deliberation. So if citizens consent or citizen are participating under such policy making process and also in program implementation, this will improve the efficiency and the effectiveness of the policy making and policy implementation. This example has been stated in this article related with Manrega in Rajasthan. You can always quote this example. Rajasthan government has initiated this Manrega Samvad. Under Manrega Samvad, there is a consultation or engagement with civil society organizations. Even the chief minister of the state sometimes attend these samvad or discussion, and they try to understand certain points. They try to understand whether the benefits of this scheme is actually reaching the people or not, to the people or not. So there are certain concern, for example, payment issues are there. There are certain concern like Aadhaar is not updated. There are concern like data related with Aadhaar is wrong. Aadhaar and bank is not connected. So such problems can only be known if you are connecting with the people, if you are connecting with the beneficiary. And under Manrega Samvad, such steps has been taken by the Rajasthan government. So you can quote this example on many occasions when you talk about the participation of people in policy implementation or program implementation. Next is Arrow's paradox, a very important point highlighted in this article related with the concept of Arrow's paradox, and we will try to understand actually what is Arrow paradox. And this idea of Arrow paradox can be used to highlight different aspects. If the question is asked on social media, the question can be framed both in GS paper 2 and in GS paper 3. So you have to understand accordingly. Each country has different rule. Now, before I explain you the different arguments made in this article, before that, we just try to understand one situation and circumstance. So take the case of a majority and a minority opinion. Majority and a minority opinion. Is it possible that here majority and minority does not mean related to religion or something? It is just related with a number. A majority of people wants that, suppose there are two options related with war. Majority wants that there should be no war. Minority opinion is there. Minority means few people are there, 100, 200, 300 people are there, and they want that there should be a war. Now, if most of the people wants that there should be no war, but very few people wants that war to be declared against a particular country, there is a huge possibility that this minority opinion can be circulated in such a manner that means maximum people start believing that this minority opinion is actually a majority opinion. So this concept has been called as arrow paradox, and this idea of arrow paradox is visible in this era of social media. Many of the people who are social media users, they try to promote and propagate certain narration and certain viewpoints, which suits their own interest. Maybe such people are around 100 or 200 people, and most of the people are not concerned with that issue, but a narration will be created through social media that this opinion of few people is actually the opinion of the majority of the people. So this is called as arrow paradox, and it is visible in this era of social media. You can quote this point and in different arguments while you are emphasizing. You can highlight this arrow paradox, but while you are using arrow paradox, just don't use this word arrow paradox. If you are using this word arrow paradox, try to explain it in 2-3 lines what actually is a arrow paradox. This is again very important, and it has been explained by a mathematician called as named as Kenneth Arrow. So he has highlighted in the context of an election. Let's discuss about a step back in gender equality. This is related with a topic, gender equality. It can be asked under GS paper 1 society section. Most of the question, if you talk about most of the question, these questions are framed. Most of the question in GS paper 1 except history. In GS paper 2, I will say all the questions, around 17 question I will say, and in GS paper 3 almost all the questions. If you have read different editorials properly, if you are following a single paper, I will suggest for The Hindu, because the kind of coverage by The Hindu or mainly related with your syllabus, it doesn't mean ki if a paper is covering more topics it is good. Here the kind of coverage that is there related with the topics linked with your syllabus is comparatively we can say more productive. But the only drawback is there are certain argument which you may not use in the exam, so you need to delete those arguments. So like if I'm teaching you what we have to understand, that the political opinion can be deleted, and the content which can be used in the exam, it can be discussed. So here take the case of a gender equality, a particular political party. I am not naming the political party because it is of no use, but it has highlighted that unpaid domestic worker and care work in India need to be paid. Simple example is, take the case of any family, and in a family you have many people, you have men, women, they are linked under different relations. One is mother, other is daughter, sister. This way there are many relations are visible in a family. So what is highlighted by that party is that most of the responsibility, like 83% of the burden, 83% of the burden of domestic and care work both in Tamil Nadu and India is with the females. Now it is said that if the domestic and care work burden is with the female, so the female or the woman need to be paid for it. Now imagine a practical aspect of this situation. First is, after we are recognizing or we say that a woman need to be paid for that work, it means we are accepting this idea that it is the responsibility of the woman to do such works. All the work burden need to be taken by the woman. Only thing is to be done is to pay for that work. Now this is totally, we can say it is totally against the principle of gender equality. Second point is, when you talk about the family, maybe there are millions of such families where the economic condition is not such where a family can afford to pay all other female family members. If they are able to afford to pay to such female members, maybe they can hire other person who can do their housework and all. So this is also the case. How practically we will be able to do that. Third point is, suppose a family member is earning 2 lakh rupees, 2 lakh rupees, that person is earning 2 lakh rupees, and in that family there are 4 to 5 female members. That person will say that I paid this person 20,000, this person 30,000, this person 30,000, and he will be out of tax slabs. If he is paying GST and all, he will be out of tax slabs. He will say that I am paying to my to the female member of my family. Now this will result into tax evasion, and certain loophole of the law will be used. It may again will reduce the revenue collection on part of the government. So how we will implement such a policy and what kind of value changes will come in the family is a question that need to be answered. The idea is that we should focus that every woman is empowered to such an extent. Every woman is empowered to such an extent that that woman can herself we can say herself can pay, or we can say herself can manage, or herself can take the responsibility, or herself can provide remuneration to many of other women who are working in different areas or this way, and can be a role model for other women, and maybe aspire other women to become a leader in the society. So this is the idea that we have to understand. Also, a point has been made related with by we can say by a feminist, and as per that feminist, the steps that can be taken to reduce the gender gap in unpaid domestic and care work are recognition. We have to recognize that it is a work reduction and redistribution. The question arises whether in a family economic is or can be a basis for any relation. We can take a step in order to somehow address this issue. It should not be just a political issue. It has to be an issue where society needs to think in a different manner. Next is about decoding Cuba currency reform. This topic is also important under IR section. So here you have to understand the meaning of devaluation. What basically is devaluation? There is a difference between devaluation and depreciation. Take the case, if $1 cost is equivalent to 70 rupees, and if $1 value increases to 80 rupees, this is a situation of depreciation. So if this is this value change is based on market principle, we will call it as depreciation. And if it is done intentionally by the government itself or by its central government, we will call it as devaluation. So recently Cuban government has devaluated the Cuban peso, and it has withdrawn the this other currency called as convertible peso. Why this step has been taken by the Cuban government? To understand this situation, like take the case of countries like Indonesia, where you will find that 750 rupees, maybe it will you can check it, it is around 1.5 lakh of Indonesian currency, so which is again a huge amount. So what countries does that, they create a single note which will be equivalent to 1.5 lakh rupees, 2 lakh rupees, 5 lakh rupees. So to avoid such devaluation or depreciation, such steps are being taken by the country. In case of Cuba also, early 90s, in early 90s sugar industry was not performing well, and there was certain economic reason because of which what happened, that the Cuban currency has depreciated to such an extent that a Cuban government need to launch a new currency. It was made to launch a new currency. So this is the situation. And now because of the launch of the new currency means earlier currency value continuously depreciated. Suppose $1 equal to 2 lakh Cuban currency. So Cuban government has created one currency which will be equivalent to this much. So it would reduce the cost of printing and all, and it will be able to manage the situation. So, and considering this, it has launched one more currency, but now because of certain economic complexities, it has withdrawn this one currency, and now it is using the other currency, but it has devaluated the other currency as well. So there are many factors related with COVID-19 pandemic, decline in the export of nations, medical services, foreign exchange, revenue depletion. We can say because Cuba also earns revenue out of tourism, because tourism is equivalent to export, and US economic sanctions. Because of these factors, Cuba is facing many of economic complexities, and that is the reason India, somehow we can say Cuba has taken such steps. So all these points you need to consider. In the end, let's see the question. Participation of citizens will make governance more efficient and effective. You have to write the answer. Don't forget to subscribe the channel, and press the bell icon. Also like the session. Do share with your friends. I will come up with a new series. Answer writing session is already going on. You have the Hindu analysis in English every day at 12:30 p.m. Other session will be at 5 a.m. In 5 a.m. session, we will cover different sources of current affairs. It will be a prelims specific current affairs. The target is to crack prelims 2021. So it will continue for 4, 5, 6 months, like the time which is time left for your preparation for your exam. So you on daily basis develop the habit that I will wake up early in the morning 5 a.m. and you will attend the session. You will do all the questions, make the notes. This way you have to maintain a discipline till the time you are preparing for this exam. Okay, so I request each of you do share the session with your friends. This is again a very important thing, and I hope this session is helpful for you. Don't forget to comment. You can give your feedback, or you can also give your certain suggestions also what we can do, which will help you in your preparation. Thank you everyone.